for the people who are watching, who are very concerned about the timelines of it all, yes, we need to act quickly, but these folks are now emboldened. They've seen what Trump is able to get away with. So, Mike said he's discouraged. I don't know what the word is for what I am, because I'm watching people not push back, that whole every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, or that there needs to be. I'm not seeing Congress push back in a forceful enough way that this can be stopped in time for the midterms.
Well, I would say a couple things. One is, even though Trump can pardon people for federal crimes, he cannot pardon them for state crimes. He can try to pressure governors like Jared Polis and others to cave in, which I think was done inappropriately. But the fact is, we've seen in Minnesota and other states, new criminal investigations being pursued against lawless acts by Trump's agents. And so violations of federal law, at least right now, this president can pardon. We will see about whether those pardons will stand. But at the state level, they cannot escape state liability for state crimes, as long as we have prosecutors and attorneys general who are going to pursue that. So there are some guardrails left. Second, I would say, we have a situation in which it is the case. The timing is that Donald Trump is doing this, Todd Blanche is doing this as we're coming into a midterm election, and where they've already been saber rattling about ways in which they want to disrupt those elections, seize ballot boxes, send troops or send ICE agents, or even vigilantes perhaps to polling places. There's a robust effort by secretaries of state to stand up to this, to prevent that, to work in coordination with local law enforcement to stop that kind of egregious or any sort of intimidation of voters. But we are going to have to prepare for that together and insist, not just protect each other in terms of getting to the polls, but ensure that those votes are counted and that this election is not stolen by this president by selectively disrupting cities, which is what he's already signaled he may try to do. We also have the problem with the Postal Service, where Donald Trump's Postmaster General has signaled that he's going to aid him in trying to prevent people's votes from being cast if they're not on some special list. That's outrageous, and also counter-constitutional, anti-constitutional. That's going to be litigated. And so there's a robust litigation effort. And I would just say on the I guess two last things on the upside of this. One is the stink of this deal they cannot get away from. This stink, the stench of it continues. And we are going to have to do our part to make sure that any other settlements that come out in this, like you said, Michael, the unknown fund that remains, in essence, that's not dubbed 1776, like the hashtag of Lauren Boebert and others that they were sending around on the morning of January 6th to signal their alliance with this insurrection. The fact is that there also is the outrageous settlement of the IRS case in the IRS component of it, to claim that Donald Trump, his sons, his businesses cannot be investigated ever for their IRS violations, which is practically a concession of IRS violations by this family, by this, what I consider to be a crime family, quite frankly. The fact is that more and more people get what's going on. They hate what's going on. They dislike the direction that Donald Trump is going. They dislike what this Justice Department is doing, the real weaponization of the Justice Department in favor of Trump's wild and outrageous conspiracy theories, and destruction that is at odds to devotion and allegiance to the United States. So I'm actually hopeful. What I see is more and more people saying, hell no.
Okay. I love hopeful because it does. Right now, things are looking less than hopeful, I think, when people are stuck in the day-to-day of it all. As far as even what mechanisms do people have other than calling their representatives, putting pressure on the media to pay attention to this, because at the same time, everyone's also living their own lives. Everybody's struggling with expenses right now. What can one do other than to just sit and wait?
Well, I'm going to confess that I am not a good singer, but I do like the idea of a choir where we're holding a note together, and we can't always hold that note like the entire time. We have other people coming in to spell us as we carry this tune forward. And so we're going to have to just keep handing the baton to each other and supporting each other in this. We have to consider that this election isn't necessarily, and certainly isn't what just happens in November of this year. It's what happens in June and July and August and September. to continue to say no, to continue to call members of Congress, whether they respond or not, to keep the pressure on and to accelerate that pressure to protect our democracy and what's left of it and begin the process of boldly restoring and expanding our rights. We cannot give up. We cannot give in, or we will surely lose. They're not giving up. We have a moral obligation to not give up and, in fact, to double down in our efforts to eradicate this extremism in terms of holding the people accountable, including Donald Trump. I'll say that in my personal capacity, and all of his minions. This is not the America that we should be seeing on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. We need to hold that vision of our Constitution, our country, for ourselves, or they are going to rip it apart. And I know I guess I'll speak for you too. I assume that is not acceptable. We are going to have to just, catch our breath, hold that note, pass the note, come back, and ensure that the outcome in terms of people standing up and speaking out coming through this November and beyond November is so strong that our voices prevail.